Hello, my friends. Welcome in. It is season 3. Well, technically, right now it's the end of season 2, but then we're gonna go to season 3. So we're gonna do the end of season awards. You get the last chance to make a guess as who you think the player of the season, signing of the season, and young player of the season are. And then decisions have had to been made. Let's go look. All right, my friends, our best finish ever, second, again, when the club history is like 5 years or whatever, or 4, like 4 or 5 years. Doesn't take much to get the best finish. We got promoted. Best 11, we got Connor Lang coming in. 11 starts, 8 goals, 3 assists, 7-4-8, gets you into the best 11. Quite impressive. David Cassidy in the midfield. Aiden Nolan, the loanee here, and Anthony O'Reilly is a substitute, my friends. Into season awards, Marty Waters with 46% of the vote, then Zach O'Neill, and then David Cassidy, which I think is interesting because if you look up here, he's won the player of the year, but he's the third fans player of the season for the club. I mean, Waters was banging him in, wasn't he? Goal of the season, I've looked at it. It was like a half volley. It was good, but I mean, it wasn't like a bicycle kick. I'm not going to waste our time showing you that. We have a lot to cover, and I think we're going to play a game today. Signing of the season, Connor Lang, again, as you might expect, on a 7-4-8. I mean, that's 8 goals and 11. Woo! Is good, my friends. And then Zach O'Neill, young player of the season, on a 7.1. 24 starts, 1 goal, 5 assists. Not bad, my friends. Season review, you can see, it was nervy down here. 7th place for a week, and then we bounced back, and then really, we were just cruising along, and we made a push. We were in first for a long time after that. That's what was so disappointing, is we were like right there, and then we dropped off, and then rescued it here at the very end. So one of the playoff runner-up, knocked out in the first round, the second round, and the fourth round, which are really our first games in all 3 cups. We got knocked out, so quite bad. 35% full attendance. Hopefully, you would think we got promoted. We're in the Premier Division. We'd see more? Question mark? Anybody have any ideas? What percentage do you think we'll be at next season? Dynamics, blah, blah, blah. I just think this is hilarious. It was the first division player of the season, 25 appearances, 3 goals, 9 assists on a 7.2. That's the deep line playmaker / advanced playmaker role that he's been playing in. Marty Waters with 1 goal off from the bronze. I think if he'd had that, he had 5 assists. He would have had the bronze boot, apparently. Cassidy with, this is his goal. It's the volley. Not going to show that to you. McGinnis with the second best rating, I guess, or I don't know. He's got a better rating, but who knows? It doesn't show his other stats. I'm the head coach of the year. Cassidy and Waters are first division team of the year players. Looking tasty. I'm going to hop us forward. We've had to make some tough decisions. Let's go. And have fixed my green screen. That was over here. Sorry about that. So this has been one of the toughest off-season transfer window things that I think I've ever had. Because it's not in every save that I've done that I've taken a team from being semi-professional to professional. And that's a huge shift. That's more training. Great. But it also means because pro tip, if you think you're going to get promoted, go ahead and lock in some contracts for the next season. I hadn't done that because I was still kind of on the fence with some of our players. I tend to wait till the end of the season or like right near the end of the season. But in this situation, I should have locked up more players on contracts because they expect lower wages in the first division than they do in the Premier Division. So players that were making $80 a week last season, as soon as we get promoted, are suddenly wanting $250. And we're going to need... we haven't had a ton of sponsorship come in. I have yet to see a commercial summary, which is, I'm like, is something broken? Did that happen later in the season or the early part of the season than I remember? But I'm kind of confused because I maybe I forgot it, but I've not seen a commercial summary or anything like that. So we have gone professional. That's massive. But because the players we're keeping now want higher wages, like 3 times as much wages. That means some players have got to go. Some players wanted to go. So we kind of had to make some tough choices. And we did spend, I don't know if this thing was a panic signing, but I found a left back who can actually play left back theoretically better than Kevin Knight, and he had better than one determination. And so we signed it from another club. So we paid our first transfer fee of 16,500 euros. Let's go take a look. Okay. Jamie Wilson, in on loan, center back, decent. Composure, concentration, not great. Not great that his heading is going down. Also not great. But when you look at the report, he's 17, second best center back on the team. Unbelievable. And we got him on a free. Now he's fairly susceptible to injuries, poor technique, which is a 3. We're not paying for him. That's the benefit. Second best center back on the team that we're not paying for. We'll take it. On loan from our affiliate Bohemians. Limerick has sold Connor Powell to us. He was in the last season of his contract, the upcoming season. He's getting paid $3.25 a week. But when you look at him, I mean, passing is okay. But I mean, all of this is significantly better than Kevin Knight, except maybe the physicals. He had a little bit more acceleration and pace. I guess I could just show you. He's left the club. I was undecided whether to keep him or not. So yeah, I mean, if you do the straight comparison here, he's just Powell is an all-around player. He's older now. That makes him a little bit nervous that he's going to start falling apart. But you know, he's actually got a bit of a this is more trapezoidal or triangle shape. This is like a, I don't know, a decahedron, if you will. It's probably not that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Octagon is what I was. Is it? Anyway. Better attacking, better technical, same aerial, better mental, same defending, better physical, 1 less speed, better vision, significantly better player. And Knight was going to want $250 a week, and I just couldn't justify with all the poor technicals and this keeping him for that. And so I was keeping him on like a month to month, and then he just up and decided to leave, which I don't blame him. You know, he did a great job for us, really, right? When you look at it, a 7.04 and a 6.92. I really shouldn't have anything to complain about with him, but if you're just thinking about we are trying to survive this season, we can actually play someone on a fullback defend or a support. Like really, we've been using Shane Costello with the support role, but like he can cross and dribble. Costello's are 5s here, so like we could support from the left side and let Costello just defend maybe. But all around, I think he's a better player. So we signed him on a 2-year deal, $3.25 a week. A lot of money for our club. We've loaned back Liam Kerrigan because we have a problem in midfield, and I'll switch after we go through the transfers to talking about what I think the tactical shape is going to be this season. Of course, it changed like 2 or 3 times last season, didn't it? Sure did. Is my mic on? Yes. Oh gosh. I'm not saying he's outstanding. He's 2.5 star with 5-star potential. He's young and he's free, so he's free rotation depth. That's a depth signing. That's really all it is. And he really didn't do all that amazing. 12 appearances, really 4 starts, 8 subs on 6-7-1. Kind of hard to judge, but not great in the first division. But he was free. So we'll take that. Jack Minton has left on a free. He just wasn't going to get game time is what it came down to. And again, I couldn't afford to pay the backup $250 a week. His contract was up and it's just kind of like, I can't justify it. I could not justify it. When you look at the release players, Gary O'Neill's retired. Owen Morgan, I'd love to sign. Actually, if you saw on that transfer screen when we first looked at it, I tried to sign him. I tried to say, hey, mate, come. You've had a couple weeks. You've had like a month and a half to be mad. Come on back. It's Valentine's Day. Come on back. And he was like, no, I'm not happy with how I left the club. I think he could do the job. His marking is terrible, but, I mean, he's got everything else from Paul. He can't mark, but he could support and tackle, and when you look at the report, he'd be our 3rd best midfielder, but he has 0 interest in joining. So he's gone. Kieran Butler just wasn't. I mean, again, it comes down to we kind of have to trim the squad a little bit just from a cost standpoint. Kevin Knight, I showed you, left. Andy O'Reilly has left. That was the other midfielder, not Anthony O'Reilly, who was upset. Doesn't want to come back. Adam Doyle just wasn't going to make it. You know, he hadn't made a single appearance for us. We were paying him $80 a week. He was going to want $250. I was like, see ya. He's got acceleration and crossing. That's about it. Same thing with Joe Doyle. I don't think they're related. Kind of the same thing. And Adam is either footed, which would have been phenomenal to have, but everything else is so poor. Like tackling is one. We're going to be doing a lot of tackling this season, is my guess. So I actually think there's going to be more potentially leaving. I did want to show you this. I think it's hilarious. Look at all the trials. Oh my goodness. I have trialed so many players, and like the good ones are like, nah, I don't want to join you. It's like, oh, well, thanks for coming up for the trial. You know, wasting all of our times. That's great. From a staff standpoint, Anthony Grace, a scout, we've had to cut. It was a weird thing. We went professional, and then they wanted to drop the number of scouts. And so, again, he was going to want more money anyway. He was just average, and so we said okay. But it's weird because they've increased the scouting range to all of UK and Ireland. Before that, it was just Ireland. So we have more to cover, but one less scout. I'm very confused by that. We've signed a sports scientist for the U19s because they were going to allow that. Gotta love the hair. He's got the little woof hair going on, but he's got a 12 in sports science. We'll take it. He's professional. Maybe he'll have an influence. I have no idea if that happens. And we've signed a goalkeeping coach from Barry, $350 a week. But ooh, look at this. Pretty tasty. And we paid like, I don't know, $2 or $3 grand maybe in compensation, or does it say that here? No. So I thought it was good. We don't have any future transfers lined up. Yeah, okay. So let's look at the tactic. I'm thinking 4-5-1. I don't know if that's the right decision. It's going to be either 4-5-1 or 4-4-2 because now we actually have, theoretically, because we did have our issues with Costello, right? But last season he was on a 6-8-1 on 23 starts with a goal. Not terrible, but significantly better than the previous season. So maybe he's kind of settling in. I don't know. He's up to $250 a week for the season. But now we have two fullbacks that can actually play fullback. So even though the 3-4-1-2 worked that one time for those couple games, maybe because it was so weird, I'm not saying I wouldn't go for it, but we've now gone up a division. And so I just think we're going to be doing a lot of defending. So I think a 4-5-1 or 4-4-2, you know, same thing here, is going to be our best bet. What I have done to kind of support that idea is I've changed our pitch dimensions from, I think we had long, which was like, I think it was like 115 by 70. And we've gone to long and narrow, which is 115 by 55. We've cut 15 meters off the side. My thinking here is we still want the length, and I'll show you why, because we're going to look at the comparison compared to the league. It's very bad. But my thinking with this is, okay, we have literally nothing better than the rest of the league except for pace and acceleration. And it's not even better than the league. It's just not last. So that's the only thing we got going for ourselves. We're going to be playing a lot of defense. We need the length in the pitch to bang it up long. Like, just clear it, get it up there, and then run onto it and see if we can score on the counter. We're going to be playing a lot of cautious mentality. Well, to help out with that, if we're playing opponents that are better than us, we want to be like a compact defense. Clogging up the middle, clogging up the lower line. Like, we want 10 behind the ball, 9 outfield players. We want to compact that in. Well, it's easier to compact that in if you don't have as much space on the wings, right? So we bring those wings in, even though McGlade is quite good. I just think that's the best idea, to where we don't have the space out to the sides, but neither do our opponents, and we can just ping it over the top, and every other time we're just going to be back on defense. That was kind of what I was thinking as we went through this. So if we go to 4-4-2, again, it's not as wide, so maybe the 4 can cover it, but I just think clogging up this middle is going to be massive. And if we're in a pinch, we can bring Connor on, we can bring John O'Neill on, we've got Jean-Yves Palm is back, and we'll talk through those decisions as well. But this is kind of what I'm thinking we're going to go with. It's got, you're like, wait, you've got one player on defend. I've got Powell on support. Costello is essentially on defend. cross less often, dribble less, shoot less often, hold position. I just want him to pass a little bit. And you lose that. If you go to just straight defend, you lose some of the options there. So it's essentially like, hey, I want you to use your 11 passing, right? And your 10 vision, but everything else, I want you to stay forward. You don't have the pace and acceleration to come back on defense. So that's what I was thinking. Let me know what you think there. And let's go take a look here at the comparison. So here's the team report. Average age isn't actually the lowest. The lowest is Derry City at 22.05, and we are at 22.12. We are 9th out of 10. Height, it says the lowest is 5'11", Derry City, but ours also says we're 5'11". So I'm not sure. It must be like 5'11" and then a little bit, like the last time. The average is 165 pounds. That's only 4 pounds. Surely that's not the worst in the world. No international caps, international youth appearances. Average player wage is $550 on average. We're at 190. Player value, our average is 22. The average is 130. And that's that. All positions. Decisions is not the lowest. It's 8th. And leadership is 4th. Everything else is the worst in the league by quite a distance. We won't look at each one because it's depressing. Goalkeeping, we got the best reflexes in the league with 13. The worst kicking at 7.5. And then, so like maybe McGinnis can give us a chance. I don't know. Defense, we've got pace. We don't even have the acceleration. We got the pace. Jumping is a 10.89. Oh, it's just, This is our midfield. Oh my gosh. Look at it. Oh, it's so bad. So that's what I'm thinking, like, just get bodies in the way. They're not anywhere near as technically sound or teamwork or stamina or striking. We got pace and acceleration. Again, pace and acceleration. That's literally all we have. Across the board, this is physical. Pace is what we got going for us. Mental leadership is what we got going for us. Technical, we got a 4.92 on quarters on average. Look at that. It's a big ask, my friends. It is a massive ask. So let's show you the squad. You already saw some of this, I'm sure. So we got McGinnis, Costello, Keeley coming in as the backup for Wilson, who is out with a pulled knee ligament for another week or so. Vice Captain Jack, Connor Powell, Dylan McGlade, Jack Watson is on a backup contract, and honestly, it was one of those things we were running out of people, and we needed a midfielder, and I couldn't find anybody from a trialist standpoint that was better that would want to join. And he's got, for some reason, I don't know why, he's got high potential. I'm hoping, it's a 1-year deal, so I'm hoping that with the full-time training, maybe some of these start getting some green arrows and that's worth it. If not, it's a 1-year deal. David Cassidy is back. He actually wanted a backup contract last season at the end of the season. So I bit his hand off, I think is the phrase. He is going to have to play, and we're not going to leave him in roles where he has to have a lot of pace. He just can't. He can't tackle. He can't even really play the defense aspect of deep line playmaker. Like, he can get in the way, but he can't tackle. I'm hoping he sticks around and can influence the squad. Zach O'Neal is our hope for the future and for today. He's really all we have in the midfield. Paul Fox out on the left. He's improving. He's not. He's actually the second best behind Waters, and Cody Mulhall is right there. But the thing with Fox is he can actually cross. Mulhall is 6 on crossing and dribbling. So I'm gonna keep playing him. It's a 1-year deal, 90 a week. We'll take it. And then we got Marty Waters up top. We got Connor Lang as well from the strike standpoint. Finn McGowan is now our backup, and it's on a free. I'm essentially until he leaves, and then we'll sign a free or promote a youth prospect. We just can't afford to pay somebody $250 a week to sit on the bench for the entire season. It is what it is. Tommy Tierney has gotten promoted off of the U19 team. He's our, depending on who you believe, second or third or fourth best center back. Needs to work on his heading and his composure and some of that stuff. But, I mean, when you look at it, we don't have that many options. He can also cover the right fullback spot as a no-nonsense, and we literally don't have anybody else. Dylan McGuire is the one we have on a contract for nothing. It's a per-appearance contract. And again, I'd love to sign him. If he was 20, I'd sign him because he's got potential. 23, I don't think he's going to reach it with our poor facilities, and he doesn't cost anything unless he plays. So that helps us out from a wage budget. Liam Kerrigan as a backup I showed you. Cody Moha, as we talked about. This is kind of his season to show he can make it. We had to give him a raise to $250 a week. He's got the pace and all that, but I want to see if some of these players, I didn't want to just cut everybody. It kind of hurt, to be honest with you, to just slash everybody that was a player for us. I want to see if in this season he can improve and start reaching some of that potential. He's getting up there in age, though, so can he reach it? Keith Dalton, we kept around to cover the right wing. I mean, in an absolute desperate situation, he could cover right back. But he's 22. He's got the big brown eyes. You know, I like his determination to go up and his passing. He can cross, though. Is what it is. Connor, as we talked about, all around average, you know, like not a lot of green, but not a lot of like gray either from at least a mental standpoint. And he was signing the season and all that kind of stuff last season. We have some more people in on trial. I did bring Jean-Yves back. He's 21, $250 a week, 5-star potential. I mean, 4 to 5-star potential. Got a lot of acceleration and pace. If we're playing ping it up long, I mean, he didn't do that fantastic last season. If you look at it, 13 total appearances, 10 of those being subs with 2 goals on a 6-7-8. But maybe, again, with full-time training or professional training, maybe he can reach some of that potential. Alex Aspil has been promoted from the youth team because he's too old. We need midfielders. He's on the bench. Or he's like he's behind Liam Kerrigan, potentially. Daniel Blackburn is on a week-to-week. He may leave of his own accord. I'd like to see if he'd stick around. I'd like to see him reach his potential, but it's just a financial thing for us. Luke Klukas is back for another season. Because we signed him that original deal. He's on 90 a week, and this is his season. Like, this is bad. Look at all that. That is not a good sign. He had a bunch of injuries last season. Only 15 total appearances, 6 of those being subs, 3 goals on a 6.59. A significant drop off, obviously, from the 14 goal season he had the season before, but he didn't play as much. So I'm hoping again with full-time training, he can also cover the right wing if we need him to. Not very well, but he could do it. I'm hoping to get him some more playing time this season. Steven Fitzgerald is up from the U19s. We'll probably send him back, but we have like 3 games in like a week or so here at the first part of the season. So in case we desperately need to bring somebody in, he could come in. He's only 1 star. But with him being 18, I'd like to start getting him some appearances. You know, hopefully get that determination up, get him some experience. John O'Neill is up from the U19s as well. Really horrible decision making, but he's super determined. And we want to see what he can do. This is kind of his first season with us, and we had to give him a raise because he was going to leave. So $275 for a guy that's 19 on the bench. And then same thing with Uchenna Adeyinka, $250 a week. He's going to rotate with Tommy Tierney as being our backup, but he's continuing to improve, fairly determined. I think he's got quite the future with us. And then you've seen Jamie Wilson. You'll notice on our U19 team, we have 1 player that can play the midfield. Mark Tuitt, and he's a 2 gray star. I guess we got Fitzgerald and McCaffrey. I didn't see him, but McCaffrey, yeah. So we'd like a really good youth intake. Because right now, our next backup keeper would be Marty Stokes, and he's 17, and he's not very good. Finances. Oh, gosh. We're already, we are about to play the first game of the season. We're at $25,000. We're now spending $53.16. That's like $2,000 more than we spent last season per week. That is another $52,000 a year. I mean, right now, $53.16, and what are we? I don't know what we're committed to. How are we committed to something? But okay, $54.20. over, let's just call it the next 20 weeks because we're 6 weeks into the year, is 108,400 euros with 25 grand in the bank. If we go down, we get 40 grand. Okay, so that takes a chunk. That gets us up to 65 grand. Where does the other 40 grand come from? And I couldn't run any really fantastic friendlies. I couldn't do a money league. I couldn't bring teams in. We're going to have to really maximize. I mean, look, there's one game in June because I guess the Euros? One game in June. So we are going to have to try and maximize revenue in June. Otherwise, we are in a heap of trouble, I think. That is my concern, is we've had to sign players that we didn't really want to sign to better contracts to keep them. We've lost some depth. I mean, we still have you could argue, right? Like we get 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. This guy's really U19, 23, 24, 25. A 25-man roster. We'd like to bring in some additional midfielders, though, because right now, our best midfielders are all playing. We've got one on the bench and then one backing up. We really need at least one more. If one of these guys, that if they have the ability that we think they do, could actually sign, that would be huge. But it's another at least $250 a week. I mean, look at the contracts. We got Dylan McGlade, because of the clause in his contract's up to $425 a week. Marty's Waters is $275. We are just hurting, my friends. We are hurting. And again, not to show this too long, but we didn't win a single friendly. I wasn't really worried about winning, to be honest with you. I just was trying to pick friendlies that generate 1,000 or 15 or $2,000 in revenue to try and get as much as we could out of it. And that's where we're at. Very secure. We've gone professional, so that's massive. It says it would terminate the link. So I'm curious why that hasn't happened yet. Maybe because the league technically hasn't started, even though there is a game today. So maybe at 19:45, as soon as I click next, maybe it'll kill the link. Maybe. And we're back to being in the Sports Cup first round. Is that bugged? Like, we were in the second round last season and the first round of the season before that. And of course, we pulled our nemesis, UCD's Leinster Senior League side in the Leinster Senior Cup fourth round, which the board don't care about, but I'm almost of the mind. Well, I guess you don't get money to the final. It's important to not go down. If we could nick 9th and make it through the playoffs, right? We're really uneven money here. Huge jump here, but I guess it's because you're first place, whatever. But you can help out by spreading out the dollars, I think, or the euros a little bit. If we could get 8th place, which I think is a huge ask for this squad, that, like, I'm not worried about Europa League. Obviously, we can't compete in Europe. We're not even close to that. If we could somehow survive and make a couple cup runs to get the money, like, I'm willing to sacrifice some potential draws. And let's not even say wins, potential draws by playing some backups to rest the team for the cup games to see if we can make a run in some of the cups. Let me just think about that. Is that a good idea or not? Or should we just focus exclusively on the league? If we lose in the first round of all the cups, I guess it won't matter. If you look at the past, 2 seasons or couple seasons, right? St. Pat's Athletic, 41 points, guaranteed safety. 10 wins, 11 draws, 15 losses. Here, 32 points, guaranteed safety. So if you somewhere in the mid 30s to low 40s, that is a huge 10 wins. Can we get 10 wins? I don't know. I mean, St. Pat's was 8th last season. Could we nick some wins off of them? Shelbourne came up with this. It's essentially like those become like the really important games. Is the games at the bottom half of the table. Like, and not worrying about, okay, well, Dundalk is going to smash our faces in. It kind of is what it is. Dynamics are average. We got a wide range of players. You'd think they'd be happy. We got promoted. They all got raises, I have gone back out for O'Reilly. They are willing to loan him back out. They weren't last season at the end, but I think because we got promoted, they're like, okay, yeah, we'll loan him back out. I offered him as a backup and then as a rotation, and he turned down both of them. So I put him in as a first teamer because he'd be a first teamer, even though he's really more of an attacking midfielder. And besides that, we continue to plug away on Trialis. I'm worried. A piece of me worried that spending the $16.5 grand on the left back was going to be a big mistake. But when you look at it, it's like 3 weeks of wage budget. So like, is it worth 3 weeks of wage budget to get a real left back? Sorry, Kevin Knight. That theoretically could help us stay up. They want us to bravely fight against relegation, reach the second round of the FAI Cup, reach the first round of the Sports Cup, which is what we're in, and they don't care about the Senior Cup. I'd like to win the Senior Cup if we could. That's $14.5 grand. That's massive if we could do that. But that's where we're at, my friends. So let me check the time here. Okay, yeah, I've rambled enough. I'm gonna bring you back. We're not gonna play the Cork City game, I don't think, because last season they finished 6th. I'm more interested in the Cup game and St. Pat's Athletic because they finished 8th last season. 7-2 odds. Let's just look at the odds. 13-2, 7-2. Waterford? No odds yet. Okay. This game, we're evens favorites. So I'm going to show you these 2 games in the next episode to see if we can pull out a cup win. How many points do you think we'll have as we come into that cup game? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 6? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think about the transfers. I was kind of gutted with some of the players, letting them go. They did a good job for us, but no one's bigger than the club type situation. And let me know what you think about the tactics. I feel like I should be more enthused, but it's like it just seems like a huge ask, and we've already burned through so much money that I just go, oh gosh, have I made a big mistake? Because then if we go down, that's a problem, because now we get all these wage issues to worry about. So let me know in the comments. Hit the like button. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.